Low weather radio, all hazards for southeastern New Jersey. Station KHB-38 from Atlantic City, New Jersey, on a frequency of 162.40 megahertz. Here is the regional weather synopsis. The area will remain between high pressure to the west and low pressure to the northeast through midweek. Several troughs will pass during this period. The low will then lift away, and the high will move in by the end of the work week.
The coastal waters forecast from Sandy Hook, New Jersey to Little Lake Inlet, New Jersey, about 20 nautical miles. Gale warning in effect from late tonight through Monday afternoon. Today, west winds 15 knots with gusts to near 25 knots. Seas 2 to 4 feet. Tonight, west winds 15 to 20 knots, increasing to 20 to 25 knots with gusts to 35 knots after midnight. Seas 2 to 4 feet, building to 4 to 6 feet after midnight. Monday, west winds 20 to 25 knots with gusts to 35 knots. Seas 5 to 8 feet, subsiding to 4 to 6 feet in the afternoon. Monday night, west winds 15 to 20 knots, diminishing to 10 to 15. Night, seas 3 to 5 feet. Chance of showers. Tuesday, west winds 10 to 15 knots with gusts to 25 knots. Seas 2 to 3 feet. Tuesday night, west winds 10 to 15 knots with gusts to 25 knots. Seas 2 to 3 feet. Wednesday, northwest winds 10 to 15 knots. Seas 2 to 3 feet. Chance of showers. Thursday, northwest winds 10 to 15 knots, diminishing to 5 to 10 knots in the afternoon, then increasing to 10 to 15 knots. Seas 2 to 3 feet. The coastal waters forecast from Little Lake Inlet, New Jersey to Fenwick Island, Delaware, out 20 nautical miles. Small craft advisory in effect from 5 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time this afternoon through Monday afternoon. Today, west winds 10 to 15 knots with gusts to 20 knots. Gusts increasing to 25 knots late. Seas 2 to 3 feet. Tonight, west winds 15 to 20 knots with gusts to 25 knots, becoming northwest 20 to 25 knots with gusts to 30 knots after midnight. Seas 2 to 4 feet. Monday, west winds 15 to 20 knots with gusts to 30 knots. Seas 3 to 5 feet. Monday night, southwest winds 15 to 20 knots, diminishing to 10 to 15 knots after midnight. Seas 2 to 4 feet. Chance of showers. Tuesday, winds 10 to 15 knots, increasing to 15 to 20 knots in the afternoon. Seas 2 to 4 feet. Tuesday night, west winds 15 to 20 knots, becoming northwest 10 to 15 knots after midnight. Seas 2 to 4 feet. Wednesday, northwest winds 10 to 15 knots. Seas 2 to 4 feet. Chance of showers. Thursday, northwest winds 10 to 15 knots, diminishing to 5 to 10 knots in the afternoon, then increasing to 10 to 15 knots. Seas 2 to 4 feet. The marine forecast for Lower Delaware Bay south of East Point, New Jersey to Slaughter Beach, Delaware. Today, west winds 10 to 15 knots with gusts to around 20 knots. Seas 2 feet. Tonight, west winds 15 to 20 knots. Seas 2 to 4 feet. Monday, west winds 10 to 15 knots, increasing to 15 to 20 knots in the afternoon. Gusts to 30 knots. Seas 2 to 4 feet. Monday night, southwest winds 10 to 15 knots with gusts to 25 knots, becoming west 5 to 10 knots after midnight. Seas 2 to 4 feet. Chance of showers. Tuesday, west winds 10 to 15 knots, increasing to 15 to 20 knots in the afternoon. Seas 2 to 3 feet. Tuesday night, northwest winds 10 to 15 knots with gusts up to 25 knots, diminishing to 5 to 10 knots after midnight. Seas 2 to 4 feet. Wednesday, northwest winds 5 to 10 knots. Seas 2 to 3 feet, subsiding to 1 to 2 feet after midnight. Chance of showers. Thursday, northwest winds 5 to 10 knots, increasing to 10 to 15 knots after midnight. Seas 1 to 2 feet. The marine forecast for Upper Delaware Bay. Today, west winds 10 to 15 knots with gusts to 20 knots. Seas 1 to 2 feet. Tonight, west winds 10 to 15 knots with gusts to 20 knots. Seas 2 to 3 feet. Monday, west winds 10 to 15 knots, increasing to 15 to 20 knots in the afternoon. gusts to near 35 knots. Seas 2 to 3 feet. Monday night, west winds 10 to 15 knots with gusts to 30 knots, diminishing to 5 knots and knots after midnight. Seas 1 to 2 feet. A chance of showers. Tuesday, west winds 10 to 15 knots with gusts to 25 knots. Seas 1 to 2 feet. Tuesday night, northwest winds 10 to 15 knots with gusts to 20 knots, diminishing to 5 knots and knots after midnight. Seas 1 to 2 feet. Wednesday, northwest winds 10 knots. Seas 1 to 2 feet. Chance of showers. Thursday, northwest winds 5 to 10 knots, increasing to 10 to 15 knots after midnight. Seas 1 foot or less. The following is a coastal flood statement from the National Weather Service for the following counties in New Jersey: Atlantic, coastal Cape May, Atlantic, Cape May, coastal Atlantic, coastal ocean and inland ocean. Spotty minor tidal flooding possible again tonight. Location: the Atlantic coastlines of New Jersey and Delaware and along the adjacent back bays, Raritan Bay and Lower Delaware Bay. Coastal flooding, spotty minor tidal flooding. Timing: around the time of high tide tonight. High tide tonight occurs between 9:30 p.m. and 11 p.m. on the Atlantic coastlines and Raritan Bay, later on the adjacent back bays and tidal streams, and between 10 p.m. and midnight along the Lower Delaware Bay. Impacts: areas most prone to minor tidal flooding could experience minor flooding.